Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about negative body language. So presenting yourself in a way that makes you come across as defensive, insecure, and overall just not that confident. So the first negative body language gesture that many people engage in, including myself, I had done it many times for many years until I really learned how negative and defensive it really made me come across, and everyone else that does it. And that is the arm cross. So just crossing your arms just like this. You see a lot of people standing with their arms crossed. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm not trying to be defensive. I'm just comfortable standing in that way with my arms crossed. And it makes sense that we're comfortable standing in that way because essentially we're protecting our vital organs when we cross our arms. So we're protecting our stomach, our lungs, our heart. So it's lowering our blood pressure and our heart rate when we're doing it. So it does make us comfortable. But at the same time, it really does make you appear more defensive, more on guard. You're actually less receptive to what other people are saying to you. And you come across as less approachable. So if you want someone to be more receptive, you want to try and get them out of that arms crossed defensive position because they're more likely to say no. So whether that be handing them a piece of paper or a water, anything of that nature, just to get them out of that defensive mode. I've spoken about this one before when you really just contract yourself. So when you're sitting down or you're standing up and you're just taking up as little space as possible. So that could be crossing your arms. That'll make you a little bit contracted. But just overall in general. So it's important to look out for yourself engaging in this behavior because people will perceive you as unapproachable. Maybe subconsciously they can tell that you have low self-esteem or maybe a little bit depressed. You really come off when you're contracted. A lot of people contract when they are lying because subconsciously they're almost trying to hide and get away from the lie. So they'll try to look as small as possible, almost like they don't want to be seen by anyone. Same thing with people that are robbing something or have robbed something and are walking through the store. They'll take up as little space as possible. They'll hunch over, that whole I don't want to be seen type of gesture. And if you realize that someone you're talking to suddenly starts to make themselves smaller, claims less territory, starts to contract, you might want to pay attention to what you said or what the topic of conversation is that's making them feel uncomfortable. Because chances are, if they were open and they were claiming a little bit of territory and then they suddenly contract a little bit and take up a little space, they are probably feeling a little bit uneasy about something. Self-soothing gestures, otherwise known as pacifying, is also negative. So what that looks like is it's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe stroking your upper thighs, your legs, your arms. And what that is essentially doing is you subconsciously telling yourself, it's okay, it's going to be okay. Once again, lowering that blood pressure, lowering that heart rate. That's really what you're doing. Women will often stroke their suprasternal notch, and that lowers their blood pressure. That's another pacifying behavior. They're either nervous about something, really anxious, uncomfortable about the topic. And you kind of want to probe a little bit more and really ask yourself, what am I saying right now that's making this person uncomfortable? Why is this person really uncomfortable right now? Are they lying to me? Are they hiding something? Is just the topic of conversation that we're having right now making them uncomfortable? Maybe I should back off a little bit and really be more conscious of what you're saying and what you're doing that may be making them feel that way. Hands in your pockets is a big no-no. Very negative. When we don't show our hands, we're automatically perceived as less trustworthy, that we have something to hide, and that we're not really all that sincere. And I spoke about this in one of my last videos, that the more you show your hands, the more trustworthy you are, because evolutionarily, we could have had a weapon that we were hiding if our hands weren't visible. So from an evolution standpoint, this really makes sense. Let's say you don't really know what to do with your hands. If you're presenting, for instance, try and Well, really try and refrain from putting them in your pockets because of what we just discussed, but also try and refrain from like throwing them all over the place because everyone's attention is going to be on your arms and what your hands are doing and that whole like fidgeting you have going on opposed to what you're actually saying. So, you only want to gesture when you're trying to emphasize or validate a point that you're making. So, if you don't know what to do with them when you're not emphasizing a point, really just try and keep them either on your hips or on your waist. If you're not comfortable with that, just put one hand over the other, like right up above your belly button, and just keep it there. And then when you feel the need to gesture, make a point, then gesture, make that point, make that steepling, confident hand gesture. So this would be a good demonstration. Standing there, talking, one hand folded in the other, and then just gesturing when you feel that it's appropriate. And putting it back. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful. So just a quick overview. Try not to cross those arms. Try not to fold those arms. If you see someone else with crossed arms or defensive body language, let them know the science behind it. And that even though they may just be comfortable, it makes sense that they're comfortable because of what we spoke about before. However, they are really coming across as defensive. They are more inclined to say no. They are less receptive to what you're saying. Pay attention to contracting. So whether you're contracting or someone else is contracting, there's probably something going on there that is making you or someone else uncomfortable and uneasy. And self-soothing gestures. So when someone's pacifying themselves, it's lowering their heart rate, it's lowering their blood pressure. When girls stroke their suprasternal notch, it's doing the same thing. It's really indicative that someone's uneasy, comfortable, and trying to figure out why they are is always a good thing. And being conscious of what you're saying. So if they are uncomfortable because of whatever it is you're saying, try and maybe take a step back and stop talking about that subject and maybe put them at ease. And no hands in pockets. Try and really make those hands visible and exposed at all times, but not overkilling it with too many gestures. Only gesturing when you feel like it is emphasizing a point that you are making, or steepling, showing that confident gesture, hand gesture. And also, don't put your hands behind your back either. It's doing the same thing. Your hands are invisible. All right, so hopefully that helped. Thanks for watching, guys.